Welcome to Make the Grade with the Success Doctor, Stephen Greene, where you'll discover actionable strategies to help your student to reach their academic goals, to excel at standardized testing, and to plan for the college admissions process painlessly. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Greene.
Hey everybody. Yes, Steve Greene from the Make the Grade podcast. I got some important back to school information here. Today, if you're a student, listen up. Most of the time on this podcast, I'm giving tips to parents. But today it's about the students. It's about the students. I want to address a few things that are really important and they require some planning. So you got to plan ahead. You got to think ahead. You got to take some actions because you're going to make your life a lot easier. You're going to be much more successful once school gets in. So, the Make the Grade podcast, this is all about actions. Things you can do. Take actions to maximize your education. So let's get right into it. It's back to school. This is August 2020. So you never know with the podcast when people are listening, but that's okay. Because everything I'm going to say is kind of universal. So I want to talk about what you should be doing as a student. And if you're a parent listening, what you should basically get your students to do so they can really be ready for school. Now, there's some of the obvious things like getting your notebooks and getting the right calculator. And I guess in the virtual world now, make sure you got a workspace. And, I talk a lot about structure, your physical structure, where you're going to do your work, the lighting, just physically, that can make a difference. But today, let's talk more about sort of the mental preparation. Most people, especially this year, had a big gap over the summer, and they had a downturn in the spring. A lot of education wasn't really happening as much. There was less instruction going on with a lot of the virtual and remote or distance learning, whatever you want to call it, in the spring. Much bigger gap. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, as soon as you get your schedule, and even if you know what you're going to be taking, guys and girls, prepared. Put a little time in ahead of time to think about what you're going to have in these classes and what you're going to need to have to do. If you have a math class, for example, I don't care if you're in first grade, second grade, 8th grade, 12th grade, you're going to have to pick up right where you left off. Do some preemptive work to get that in place. Okay? Maybe go back and look at your notes from the spring. If you need help, reach out. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands and gazillions of resources I can share with you. Just drop stuff in the comment or search me out on social media at Make the Grade or Dr. Stephen Greene or on the site where you're listening to the podcast. I have all kinds of resources I can give you. And it's not just for math. That would be for science. That would be for history. It would be ILA. It would be for writing, whatever you want. So I'm going to suggest take a couple hours per class. And I know it's the summer and school hasn't started yet and everything we whine about this way, but this is going to really help you get yourself positioned for success. I use that word a lot, and it's relative. What person A considers success, person B might not, and vice versa. Either way, it's an individual choice and it's actions you need to take. So number one, let me give you an example. I was working with a student this morning, and I haven't seen them since April. When they went into virtual learning, they had no teaching at all going on in school. They just said, I'm not going to worry about it. And they dealt with it. Now they've got a big schedule. They got a couple AP classes, some honors classes, this is an 11th grader. And now they're concerned. Oh, what if I'm not ready? What if I don't know the stuff? I said, well, let's take stock. Where did you leave off in the spring? What do you need to do moving forward? Okay? And we looked at that and we said, okay, is there a gap? Is there a gap from what you know from the spring and where you need to pick up here and what you're going to need for September and October and beyond? Because let's look at realities. Typically, the first 2-3 weeks or month of a school year is a review of the previous year. So again, using math as an example, typical math class, the first unit, first chapter, is probably some summary of the prior year. So you want to be aware of that. So action number one is be realistic about what you're going to need to know going into the year. Action number 2 is create your time structure, especially if you're in virtual learning mode. Okay? Super important. Look at the schedule you're going to have. Look at what you're going to need to do and block out time. Again, I'm a huge proponent of this. Time management, time structure, temporal structure. Super big. Make the things easy for you. So we say, all right, I got all these classes. I got all this work I got to do. When am I going to do it? You don't want to be up till 3 in the morning. Let's build that out. Again, could tell you all kinds of stories. Give you a quick case study. A couple of days ago, working with a 5th grader. They don't have a huge amount of work, especially compared to a senior or junior and sophomore in high school. But they have a limited amount of time to do it. So we've got a calendar that we pulled out. And we just said, okay, 1 to 1:30, we're doing this. 1:30 to 2, we're doing this. 2 to 2:30. Took things in 15 or 30-minute blocks of time and committed to that time. We're going to work a week ahead. So on Saturday, we're going to set up the upcoming week. Here's the 3 or 4 hours we got, kind of free time, so to speak, that we can block this out. Now, you could say, well, that's overkill for a 5th grader. It really isn't, because they've got gaps to fill, and they want to be independent. They don't want to rely on having to use external sources and external things for help. So review. Number 1, preview your classes on your own if you haven't done it already with somebody like myself or another professional. Number 2, look at how you're going to manage your time. Look how you manage your time. Number 3 is commit. One of the 3 big C words: commitment, consistency, and community. Commit to doing this every day. Don't wait till you're behind the 8 ball. Every year. Your kid asks you, it's going to be easy, this class is going to be easy. Middle of October, they're 3 weeks behind. Very difficult to get par when you're that far behind. Commit to starting off the year. I don't care if you're an A student or a D student. Commit to starting off the year strongly with a system of time management, with your information in place, and then move forward from there. It just gets easier. Trust me on that. I got a lot of people that will confirm that and give me testimonials that'll back that up. How can I support you personally? I've got a really cool virtual learning plan I set up for families. You go to a site, you fill out a form, you tell me what your situation is. I create a plan to help you do all the things I just listed today and more, way more actually. Interested in that? MakeTheGrade.net. Number 2, the Make the Grade the Success community. 24/7 access. Go into the site, go into the community, ask questions, get help, get live help, get office hours. Not as one-on-one efficient as tutoring, but much, much more economical and much, much more available. Know who your supports are going to be. If you believe you're going to need help down the road, know who they are ahead of time. Super important. Everything I'm saying here is to set you, the student, 1st grader, 5th grader, 8th grader, don't matter, up for success. And one note for the parents: September 10th, the Back to School virtual event. 6 speakers, all experts in their field. Some sponsors bringing some really great value, some great information, and it's free. MakeTheGrade.school. Check it out. Sign up. You got to register, but it's free. So these are a lot of things I think are important. They're not difficult. Nothing I'm talking about in this podcast today is difficult. But you got to do it. You got to take action. You got to be consistent with it. Steve Greene here from the Make the Grade podcast. My goal: to give students and parents actions they can put into place immediately to maximize their education. Today we're talking about previewing your classes, timing, calendaring, and being committed. Check out the virtual plan. It will help you, guaranteed. Check out the community. It will help you, guaranteed. Get ahead, stay ahead. Maybe school's virtual, maybe it's in person. Doesn't matter. It's still on you, student, to make the most of it. I appreciate everybody's support. Make the Grade podcast a year old this week. Or actually middle of this week, whatever. Really a lot of love out there, and it's really appreciated. The comments I get, the support I get, it's all about a circle. I put out information. I hope people are listening and appreciating it. But the feedback is so positive, it keeps it going. You want to do more and more. So I always appreciate people's comments, people's feedback. Again, social media at Make the Grade, or on Facebook, Dr. Stephen Greene, or the Make the Grade, search Make the Grade, Make the Grade communities, Make the Grade page. That's what I got for today. So again, students, today was for you. Take some proactive steps to get your situation in order before school starts. I'm here to help you. Just reach out. Let me know what you need, whether it's physical resources or some sort of structural support. Hope everybody has a great week. Hope you have a great rest of the summer, whatever's left of it for you. I'll be back with more episodes soon. Got some great guests coming up. Really good. Really going to be good information. And we will talk to you soon. Steve Greene, the Make the Grade podcast. Signing off. See you next time.
You've been listening to Make the Grade with the Success Doctor, Stephen Greene. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe. For more resources and support, please visit makethegrade.net.